Welcome to my first video in a long time. Today we'll be taking a look at making a Facebook cover video. First we'll create a new project and then we'll import the time-lapse that I shot out of my window this afternoon. And because the time-lapse is 4K, we'll change the sequence settings to 1080p, which will give us a lot of room to crop the footage as you'll see. Here I'm quickly just sizing it and getting it into a position that I like. Once you've got a nice composition, you can open the color tab and start going to work with some LUTs. The idea is to bring out the blue, and I guess this is sort of where you should get creative. The export will go File, Export, and then Media, but you can also press Ctrl M on your keyboard. Try to keep things neat by making folders for your images. And then in the format drop down, pick PNG. This will give you a PNG sequence. If you did this correctly, you should have a folder filled with PNGs. And now for this next step, we're going to make a matte by using an adjustment layer to create a black and white image that will then be used in After Effects. Click over to the Effects tab and then start typing the word key. Select the Ultra Key effect and then snap it over to the adjustment layer. In the Effects control panel, select the eyedropper tool and go find the most average blue in the picture. Now just start dialing in your highlights and your shadows, and then play with your tolerance and your pedestal until your image looks right. When you are happy with your matte, you can press Ctrl M on the keyboard to bring up the export screen. Be sure to make a new file for your black and white PNGs. When your mattes are done rendering, you can hop over to After Effects and start importing your image sequences. Be sure to tick the PNG sequence tick box. To make sure that you're working at 24 frames per second, make sure that each composition and image sequence is interpreted as being 24 frames per second. So that's basically the first phase of what we're doing today. The next part will be utilizing the matte to separate foreground from background so that we can put something between the clouds. Here we have a bunch of gibberish text in a pre-composed composition, and we're going to sandwich this between our matte and our plate. And then in the track drop down, we're going to select Luma Inverted. I'll just bring in my logo and drop it in the place where the gibberish text was. And then I want the logo black, so I will apply invert. Now let's hop back to the main comp and see what it looks like so far. To help the black blend, I'm going to add a little bit of grain. Now, I wasn't entirely happy with the blue sky, so I decided to add a bit of a ramp and use a duplication of the matte to cut the clouds out again. So I hope it looks good. Now we're gonna add this composition to the render queue and let it go out as its own PNG sequence. For this next and last section to finish up the video, I am going to use a project that I got from somebody that I really admire. Please check out his channel. His name is Ben Marriott. Ben is an amazing artist with some real talent, and his tutorials are super helpful and I've learned so much. I'm going to be using the project files from his VHS/CRT tutorial, and I'm going to be seeing how some of my footage, live action footage, looks coming through this. A link to that video will be in my description below. You'll be able to pick up the same project files that I did and follow along. Now, without getting too deep into it, I would like to show you a little bit of the inside of Ben's project. It's quite incredible. So he's gone and recreated each little, I guess it's a pixel of a CRT screen, but he's broken it up into cells that only display the various colors associated with it, and it works so well. Once everything's finished, you should have a bunch of PNGs with everything together. We're going to bring this back into After Effects. But first things first, let's bring in Ben's CRT project. And here you can see that CRT effect main is the end of the line in this project. After changing the runtimes of the various compositions to 30 seconds, we are ready to make one last very special composition. In order to fit the cover area perfectly, use the resolution 820 by 312 pixels. Now just drop the CRT composition inside the new Facebook cover composition. Now just remember to save your work and then add this composition to the render queue, and once again exporting it as a PNG sequence. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed what I did here. Links are in the description below. Leave a like and subscribe. I'm going to try and make more of these.